Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video, I'll discuss my views on simulation theory. I've already discussed this in some of my articles or writings, and maybe even in one of my previous YouTube videos. I don't remember exactly for sure. But in this video, I'll be sharing some of my, mostly this video is kind of it's not really a scientific video. It's not really. Of course, I will not make any unscientific claim, of course not. But in this video, what I want to do more is to talk about the idea that we might be living in a simulation than to scientifically address the question whether we actually are. So it will be a mix of everything, not just this. There will also be science and everything. Just my views, of course. This is not established science, so of course don't take it too seriously. You'll know why I said that. So let's begin. So first of all, it's a very popular idea that we might be living in a simulation. What do you even mean by simulation? For those of you who don't know, in very short, very briefly, it might be possible that the world we see around us is not real in the sense it might be a simulation run in some advanced computer, maybe some supercomputer run by some advanced species, or maybe some, I don't know. It could be anything. We don't know anything. If we ourselves are part of the simulation, we cannot know what's actually who is actually running the simulation. Whether it is a simulation, we can say nothing for sure. And some people will claim that even the very fact that our mind can contemplate the possibility that we might be living in a simulation rules out this possibility, because when you are in a dream, when you are dreaming, when you are asleep, you don't this possibility doesn't arise in your mind that this may be a dream, this may not be real. Because once this possibility arises, I mean, when you think, if you think this, then you are no longer dreaming. Then you wake up. Only after you wake up, you realize, oh, I have been dreaming this time. This was not real, right? So in the same way, if we were actually in a simulation, and right now we can think, at least we can think about the possibility that this might be a simulation, then the fact that we are thinking this, then we should be out of the simulation. But we don't see any significant change in the world around us, right? So that means probably we are not living in a simulation. It's a real world. It's just a possibility, just a wild imagination of our brain. But it's actually not true. I get the logic. It's a good point actually, but I don't think this logic is. I mean, I don't think this conclusively proves that we are not living in a simulation. It's very likely that we are not living in a simulation. And again, even if we are living in a simulation, I think it's a waste of time to try to direct all our efforts to prove that this is true, because we cannot prove this. So in a way, the question whether we are living in a simulation, are we living in a simulation, is kind of a question which is meaningless to pursue. It might give us satisfaction. We can discuss our views. That's what I'm doing right now in this video. But of course, it's not a question I want to seriously pursue, because there is no good. I mean, after a point, I have to stop. I don't have enough information, at least now. No one has to pursue the question scientifically. Of course, we can make good movies out of this. We can write good stories out of these science fiction plots and everything. There was this movie called The Matrix. I've not watched. I don't watch a lot of movies, but I recently watched The Matrix, and it's one of my. I mean, in my opinion, I have not watched any other movie about simulation theory, but I think The Matrix did a pretty good job of depicting this idea, this simulation theory, because it was a movie which was released in, so I don't remember the exact year, but it was many years ago, over 20, almost 20 25 years ago. So during that time the movie was released, and yet it does a pretty good job, I mean, of describing the simulation and just the idea. Even the idea was pretty radical during that time. I don't really like the plot and everything, and some things were a bit exaggerated and everything. Plus, of course, I shouldn't be telling about the movie, because I have not watched a lot of movies, so I cannot really compare it with other movies and give it a rating or anything. But yeah, overall, I didn't. I liked the movie. Overall, I liked the movie, The Matrix. So the original Matrix. Then I saw that there are some other versions, also part one, part two, and all. But I did not have time to watch all of them. I just watched the original movie, The Matrix. Anyway, so basically, even my background, which was seeing that's this is kind of a wallpaper from the Matrix movie, kind of. It's like you see, if you see closely, they're just letters and numbers. In green, they're just the codes, kind of. And so basically, the simulation argument says that in a computer, we run a lot of simulations on a computer. Of course, for me, it could be a simple Python simulation, solving a differential equation or transforming some points on a two-dimensional plane. Supercomputers run more advanced simulations, weather simulations, predicting the weather, simulating the flow of air around the wings of an airplane, even more advanced simulation in say computational fluid dynamics, or even beyond physics. There are a lot of advanced simulations the supercomputers can run. But the point is that no computer we know can simulate consciousness. I mean, we cannot, we, as of now, we have not yet been able to create an artificial intelligence which is truly capable of human thought, or at least even if it is, we have not got no such indication. We have come very far, ChatGPT and everything, but they're all just, large language models. They're trained with a lot, they're fed a lot of previous data, and they're trained in the sense by some machine learning algorithms, and not just machine learning algorithms, there are some other ways as well. They're just trained that how to respond to what situation, because of course you feed a lot of data, but it's not possible to predict to ensure that the questions which I'll be asking to ChatGPT, which you or anyone will be asking to ChatGPT, the answer will be somewhere in among the past data. So apart from feeding the data, you also see Google also has all the answers. So what is the difference between Google and ChatGPT? So apart from feeding all the data, you also need to train this AI chatbot, whatever, that train it in the sense it should learn from experience. It should, suppose first I chat with the ChatGPT, from my the type of questions I ask, its responses, and how I respond to its responses. It's keeping a record of this, and it's learning from all of this, and it's updating. It's constantly updating its database, and not just that, it also has some models, some techniques of learning, up top down method, bottom up approach, top down approach. A lot of things are there. So it basically it's more than just a collection of all the information, which will just you just ask a question and it will just fetch you your answer. It's not as simple as that. But again, it's still it is a large language model. It can take some it can generate some answers on its own. It does not need human intervention at all levels, at most levels in fact. But we have still got no indication that ChatGPT or any of these advanced chatbots or artificial intelligence or robots, humanoid robots, whatever, they have any consciousness of their own. We have got no such indication. They show feelings. They can, they show feelings in the sense some advanced robots are there such that they control their facial muscles. They look at a lot of human pictures or videos of humans undergoing different kind of emotional. I mean, a happy human, a sad human, a human in angry human, a human who is experiencing a lot of grief or whatever. A lot of examples, and it learns from that. It scans the human face in the video, and it learns to, it can, these kind of robots, they can. I mean, it's possible. It's surely scientifically feasible that these robots can, they just contract their facial muscles. I mean, they don't have muscles like us, but they can contract their maybe metals or whatever. I don't know, very whatever they're made up of, very soft, advanced, maybe nanomaterials, whatever. I don't know. So they can simulate. They can make faces like us. They can even change the pitch of their voice and everything. But we have got no indication that they are actually conscious. They can actually feel what we are feeling. They actually have a life of their own so far. But according to simulation theory, it is possible. I mean, we have not yet been able to do it. But if a computer can do so much, it's possible that a computer can also simulate a real consciousness. A real consciousness. For this will only be possible if our consciousness is computational, in the sense, if our consciousness is only dependent on the arrangement of the parts. In our case, if we assume for now that the brain is the seat of the consciousness, which in any case is most likely the truth. In that case, the arrangement of all the parts of the brains, the neurons, the synapses, the neural connections, the neural circuitry, this arrangement and the interaction. By interaction, I mean all these neurons, they exchange neurotransmitters and different chemicals. So these arrangement and interaction, this is what gives rise to consciousness, a collective effect, a collective phenomenon of called consciousness. But now the question is, we don't know whether consciousness needs this biological matter to arise. I mean, is it just the arrangement and interaction? If we can simulate the same arrangement and interaction electronically or digitally in metal maybe, then will we get the same consciousness, or we need this biological soft matter, this brain tissues and all? That is the question we don't know. I mean, see, theoretically, if we can, what I feel like, if we can actually simulate all the complexities of the neurons and all, it should be possible that we can simulate consciousness even digitally. I mean, I'm theoretical. Of course, it's not possible now. It's not. I don't think it will even be possible in the near future. Maybe in the far future. Even then, I'm not very hopeful. Practically, it may never be possible. But theoretically, I see no reason why it should not be possible, if provided we can actually digitally exactly recreate all the functions of the parts of the brain. Another question is, this is, we're talking about a physical consciousness, a digital but physical. But suppose if we can write a code on a computer, of course, a very advanced code in a supercomputer, it's not a Python code on a MacBook Pro, of course. But if you can do that, so see, a few lines of all the simulations which you're doing, some of them pretty advanced. Ultimately, they're just a few lines of code. All the things which you see on a computer screen, these movies and all, even the video games you play, even virtual reality, the virtual VR headsets which you wear and you get this immersive experience that you are actually in a real world. You are actually in that real world. I mean, if you were under some neurological drugs and if you're on a VR headset, it's pretty easy to make you believe, at least for during that period of time, during your virtual session, that that virtual world which you're in is actually the real world. It's possible. So see, if a simple drug and a simple VR headset can ensnare your senses, your eyes, your whatever, your brain, and make you believe in an entirely false world, then what's the guarantee that this world which you see around you is real? There is no guarantee. Even, of course, this simulation, no human is probably doing it, and we don't yet know of any such advanced computer, advanced code which will make it possible. But it surely could be possible that, I mean, for some advanced civilization, maybe this is a very basic level of simulation. They're just doing it, and we are kind of actors in the movie. We feel like this movie is real. This is our life. This is our world. But we don't exist. We exist in the screen of that advanced being, whoever it is, who is simulating. We all our existence is confined to the screen, to his or her screen, this computer screen. Nothing more. We don't exist beyond that. There is no earth. There is no world. Nothing. Everything is in our minds. And of course, there are a lot of questions that arises when someone makes a claim as radical as this. For instance, what is the case? Like, only I am being simulated and nothing else exists. Like, even you don't exist. Nothing else. Everything which all the people I meet and interact with, they're part of my dream. The part of my, I mean, part of the program, part of the code. I feel like I'm meeting this person. I'm talking with this person. But it's all a part of the code. There is no other person except I. Even I'm doing this video right now, recording on PC. It's all part of the simulation. I'm being showed. I'm being made to perceive this. I don't know what. Is it the case, or is it the case that even you exist, all, or at least I am not the only one. Some other humans or other creatures, other living beings also exist, but they're also being simulated just like I am. I don't know. Even that could be the case. So of course, it's impossible to answer because we have no access to the real world. If there is a real world, I mean, if this is not a simulation, if this is actually a simulation, right? But there are a few points I would like to say. I feel like, of course, I'm not an expert on this, but and again, if it were a simulation, we expect to see certain anomalies, certain glitches. Maybe there could be some slight changes in the fundamental constants of the universe. If we have not been able to detect, maybe because these changes are very slight, it's our instruments are too weak to detect it, or maybe because there is no change. Because if there is some slight change in the fundamental constants of the universe, this might mean, I'm not saying that the simulation theory is the only explanation, but it could mean that the universe is being simulated, and these small changes uh, are because of some glitches, or the simulation is running for a long time, some slight glitches are in the computer. It could be the case, because if it's a real physical universe, then we do not expect to see these kind of anomalies. Then there are a lot of claims on the internet. Most of them are fake. I mean, almost all of them are fake, but maybe one or two could be real. Like, maybe a person, people see these visions. Maybe they watched a car move by, and then they watch exactly the same car with a dent in exactly the same place, same color, exactly the same car. It moved by just 1 second after through the same place. So it's kind of, this car goes by, and again, and next second the car is here and it again goes by. Kind of glitch. I mean, something happens twice, kind of. Like when you're watching a video, when you're streaming a video on YouTube or whatever, and there's some glitch with your network. Suppose the same part plays twice. That kind of thing. It can only happen if the reality is simulated. Then maybe there are some examples. I mean, again, most of these are fake, but I'm just saying. But one strong point, I mean, stronger than this, but again, this is not, again, even this is not a very strong point, is that if the Earth was, I feel like, again, I'm not an expert, but if the Earth was really, I mean, if the world was real and the Earth was actually a planet made of rock and whatever, it's spinning away in deep space, and there are a lot of threats. I mean, I'm not talking about internal threats, human created threats or climate change, not these kind of things. Threats from the outer space. I'm not just talking about asteroids. Beyond asteroids, there are gamma ray bursts, there are black holes, a lot of things in the universe which can destroy the Earth, which can, I mean, a lot of things could happen. And plus, you see, the Earth is a part of the solar system, and there are a lot of planets in the solar system, and they're all in moving in perfect harmony. Like they're all orbiting the sun in perfect harmony, except for small glitches. I mean, in the sense, small, precisions like Mercury's orbit precision, small precisions in the orbit over a long period of time. More or less, the solar system is exhibits some periodicity in the short term, at least. I mean, for us, it's a pretty long term, but yeah, it exhibits a periodicity at least now. But my question is, see, if I ask you why the Earth has not, why the Earth is still not being destroyed, how come the Earth has survived for so many years, millions of years, you may say that it could be a coincidence. Okay, so far nothing has happened to the Earth, but maybe it will. Maybe tomorrow that will be destroyed by some meteor or by something we don't know. I mean, even NASA and all cannot predict all the dangers that are coming towards Earth. A meteor, it's easy to see, track, detect, asteroid, whatever. I'm talking about asteroid. Sorry, but it's not possible to. I mean, whatever. There are a lot of space debris. It's not just asteroids. There are a lot of things, but these things it's easy to track by NASA system. Even, I mean, provided if it's in the vicinity of the Earth. But there are some things like gamma ray burst, black holes, or even dark. I mean, we don't understand every aspect of the universe. Even NASA, nobody can track it. But it's very likely that there are a lot of unknown mysteries in the universe. Some of them probably capable of destroying the Earth. But still, over so many years, the Earth has not been destroyed. The Earth is still spinning around. And plus, the safety of the Earth is dependent on the other planets of the solar system, the Sun. If something goes a bit too amiss with any of our neighboring planets or the Sun, the Earth will also be affected in a way that will be able to understand. That will be destroyed, maybe, likely. But nothing has happened. So it feels like it's like we're in a kind of a movie, like a lot of close calls. Every now and then we see NASA is warning us of an impend of an asteroid impact or whatever. But it's like in a movie, the hero is always uh, having close calls with death, but somehow he makes it out alive. The hero never dies. Somehow he is alive. Just like that, even in this case, somehow the Earth still makes it out alive. The Earth is unscathed. The Earth is not destroyed. So don't you think it's a bit? I'm just saying, even if I leave out asteroids and the well understood phenomena, there are a lot of things which are not well understood in the universe, but still nothing has affected the Earth. The Earth is according to, if it's a real world, if what we believe is real is actually real, then the Earth is just a little planet spinning away in deep space, and it's open, it's exposed on all sides to this outer space. Danger can come from any side. Yet here we are. So this is, I think, I feel like that. So what if the world is actually not real? The world is a simulation, because it's a the Earth is programmed to round to to survive. The Earth is not programmed to die. It's part of the code of the Earth. All this we are hearing threats of asteroid impacts and all. It's part of the code, part of the program. But the Earth will never be destroyed because the Earth doesn't exist as a real planet beyond the computer screen. And in the computer screen, it is the Earth has been coded in such a way that there is no. It's not allowed to get destroyed. You see, so there are these few points, and then one more thing is that this is my personal experience. Of course, I'm not claiming this to prove that simulation is real. I'm just sharing this with you. What you make of it is up to you. You see, when I listen to songs, I listen to old songs in the sense, I listen to, I have a few songs which I like a lot, and I listen to them on repeat. Like when I'm working, when I'm say writing or working or something, and I have my earbuds on or I have my Alexa, I mean my speakers on. Oftentimes, I play a song on repeat, and it's not just that. This song I used to, maybe this song, for instance, you take some of the famous songs of Alan Walker like Faded and On My Way and A Different World. I mean, these songs were the first songs I heard. Seriously listened to and enjoyed, and then I slowly started exploring music. So Different World, for instance, I first heard the song when I was in class 11th, and so now whenever I hear the song now, of course I'm reminded of my class 11th days, which is obvious, which all of us are, even if it's a real world. This does not violate anything, any law of neuroscience or nothing. But in, at least in my case, I don't know if it may be just a mistake in my thinking. It may be or it may be a problem with my brain, I don't know, my mental instability maybe. But what I feel like is that whenever I listen to the songs which I used to listen a long time back, a few years back, of course it's expected that I will recall those days and I will feel the same kind of emotions which I used to feel when I used to listen to the song a few years back. But I kind of feel exactly the same emotions in exactly the same sequence in exactly the same intensity. Like, of course, when I first heard Different World, I still remember first I felt like all the I felt different emotions. First, it was kind of because I was not very used to listening to English songs prior to that point. So first I was like, what kind of song is this? I don't really like it much. Then it was like slowly, okay, the lyrics make sense, and then it was slowly, what does it mean by uh, I mean, if you see the lyric video of the Different World song on Alan Walker's YouTube channel, you'll see a lot of the clips they've shown, like climate change and all, and also, and then there's a beautiful line: "We this is not the world we had in time, but we got time." Then I was thinking, what does it mean by we got time? Like we had a time to build the world which we wanted, but we could not do it. So that's why this is not the world we had in mind, or was it something else? Like I'm just telling you, the different world is not the point of this video, but you see, and then I felt like there was a particular bridge in the song where the music was soft and the visuals were pretty nice, northern lights, aurora, mountainside, and that induced a certain emotions in me because during that time, and then, but the thing is that when I listen to Different World now today, like even yesterday I was listening, that's when I thought of this video, making this video, by the way. But yesterday I didn't get time because in the night I had to attend some meetings, and then I fell asleep kind of, and today I woke up really late, and so here I'm making this video. But you see, the point is, I mean, even now when I listen to the song, I feel exactly the same emotions, not just vaguely, but exactly the same emotions, same in almost the same intensity and in the same sequence, the same order, just one after the other. Of course, you will say the song is playing in the same order, so you have that emotion during the first bridge, the first drop of the songs. Of course, that emotion will come before, but it's not just that. Even minutely, it's in the same sequence. I don't think. Uh, it happens for most of the songs which I used to listen. They're not just Different World is an example. For even for Faded, and then so for Happier by Marshmallow and a lot of other songs. So I feel like it's a kind of robotic. It's kind of it feels kind of being simulated. Like in the code has been written such that whenever Arpan listens to Different World, just run this like a movie. These simulations in this order, and that happens. But if it is a real world, if this was a real brain with all this complex neural circuitry and all, of course it's expected I would feel the same similar emotions, but not exactly the same intensity or in exactly the same sequence, even after so many years. So, so then, I mean, just my thoughts. I'm not saying even I don't fully believe in simulation, but at times I feel like I myself acknowledge. At times I feel like this trying to believe in simulation. I mean, believing in simulation is a good escape, because at least in my case, because sometimes I really feel like I don't want to move forward with the identity of Arpan Day anymore. I mean, you may feel like I'm becoming weak. I'm losing that. I mean, people around me, they always have this vision of me as this strong. I mean, strong in the sense mentally strong. Physically, I'm not strong. But yeah, people around me, they have the vision that I'm always mentally strong and independent and always fighting for justice. And but all they see is this outside and my maybe my LinkedIn profile and my publications, and they feel like I'm good. I'm doing good in life, but they don't know the inside. They don't know the struggles and all. And plus there are a lot of other things, because in general I have a very I myself am saying I have a very negative outlook on life. It's a wrong statement. I don't have a negative outlook on life. I have a negative outlook on humanity, on humankind. If I were given a chance to live life without, so that I would not come in contact with any humans, maybe except my parents, I I would have a positive outlook on that life. Because you see, I mean, we humans, we are just we wear clothes, we eat cooked meal, but that doesn't make us more civilized than those lions and tigers in the jungle who wear no clothes and who eat raw meat. I mean, that is not how you define civilized, right? Because they, at least they attack from the front and they don't attack from behind. They don't play with you, they don't use you, and they don't betray you. They just attack from front, and they only take that much. They only kill animals just to satisfy their hunger. They don't kill more than is necessary. They don't have greed. They don't have this greed, greed of power, greed of money. I mean, they don't know what money is, but they don't have any kind of greed, which we do. We always are looking for more than what is necessary. We always, and I mean, you know what I am. So, of course, as I've shared in some of my previous videos as well. Especially, I don't know if I'm unlucky, but the kind of people I came in contact with in my life, 90% of them were probably the nastiest kind you can imagine. Of course, I said probably because I have not met other people. Maybe there are even worse people out there. I don't know. But yeah, so I think this is why I have become this way. I didn't hate humans from the very beginning, from a very young age, but now I do. But yeah, so anyway, so sometimes I feel like, what if this was indeed a simulation? What if those nasty people, they don't actually exist? They are a part of the code. And what if I can kind of run an anti-simulation and erase them from my life, erase them from this, because ultimately they don't exist. They exist in a simulation. I'm also a part of the simulation, maybe. So that thought, in my heart of hearts, deep down, I know that it's all kind of science fiction. This is not real. They are as real as I am, most likely thing. But still, I find this thought comforting. This thought of simulation. And plus, yes, sometimes I get some, like I told you, those examples. These thoughts bother me a bit. But yeah, what do you mean by anti-simulation? I bet you have not heard of this term before, and if you Google it, this is not a very famous term, especially not in the sense I am meaning. Not in the sense I'm talking about anti-simulation, not what I am trying to mean by anti-simulation. If there's some other meaning to it, I don't know. But see, so that's why even the title of the video is anti-simulation. So assuming we are living in a simulation, assuming we are not living in a simulation, but you or I or whoever, some people, some person starts believing that we are living in a simulation, then anti-simulation simply refers to the process of coming to terms with this, that we're actually not living in a simulation. This is the real world. It may be nasty, but I have to accept it. This is anti-simulation. And if we're actually living in a simulation, even then, what I mean by anti-simulation is that, uh, see, it's a very important question. Can we actually realize that we are living in a simulation if we are actually part of the simulation, but actually inside the simulation, if we are also being simulated? So that's a question I cannot answer. It's a very deep question. Like in neuroscientists will ask you that, will tell you that of course you don't realize you are dreaming while you are dreaming. But see, there is something called lucid dreaming, in which case it's actually possible to kind of dream while knowing that you're dreaming. It's kind of a subconscious state. Subconscious is a very loose term. It's a kind of a half asleep state. I don't know. Should I call it hypnagogic state? I don't know. I'm not a neuroscientist, but it's possible actually. And my point is that of course you are a part of the simulation. You are being simulated, but if the simulation is not 100% foolproof, then there may be some loopholes, some glitches. You may observe some anomalies around you. Now, maybe all of us do observe anomalies, but why don't we think that okay, there is an anomaly, so that means we're living in a simulation? Because we're not allowed to think this. We're a part of the code. But if we assume for a moment that it's possible for someone or everyone maybe to to go beyond the code and think that maybe we're living in a simulation, go beyond the code in the sense, if fortunately, or I don't know, maybe unfortunately, if that whoever is running the simulation, if he is not a very good coder, if he has not tightened the constraints on us, if he has given us some freedom, then it should be possible for us to contemplate that we might be living in a simulation, even while ourselves being part of the simulation. So in that case, if we realize, so suppose we realize we're living in a simulation and we actually are living in a simulation, but there is no way to get out of the simulation. We don't have that power because ultimately we are being simulated. The power lies with the hands of the simulator. So then what do I mean by anti-simulation? I mean, it's not like matter and antimatter. So they just collide and they annihilate. I mean, there is no real world. So if I run a simulation and if someone else runs an anti-simulation, then nothing will be left. Nothing will be left. That is what I mean by anti-simulation. Nothing. Nihilism. So if you realize you are living in a simulation, then although you cannot physically take yourself out of the simulation, maybe you don't exist physically even, but you can actually mentally realize that this is a simulation. Once you realize a simulation, that it's a simulation, you will not think of the world as real. You are still living in the world, you have no other option, but you will still not regard this world as real. And that is what I mean by anti-simulation. That means you're kind of mentally running an anti-simulation. Physically, or I mean, you're still inside the simulation, but mentally you're running an anti-simulation. You are coming to terms that okay, this is not a real world, and that this is where nihilism comes in. The concept of nihilism, I've discussed a lot in my writings and in some of my previous videos as well. Nihilism is the philosophy that everything is meaningless. In the sense, they have no inherent meaning. Nihilism does not, see, people have this notion that nihilism is about being negative, being pessimistic. Like nihilists will tell you that life is meaningless, so you should just go and die, you should just commit suicide. No, nihilists don't say that. Nihilists say that life is meaningless. In the sense, there is no objective meaning to life. There is no, God-defined or well-defined, objective, uniquely defined meaning to life. But nihilists, or at least true nihilists, will never say that just go and die. Nihilists will say that everything is meaningless, but you should just accept it. That's no reason to die. For instance, what we believe, I identify myself as a nihilist. So what I believe is that if we die or if the world is destroyed, whatever, nothing significant will happen to the universe. No meaningful information will be lost because it is meaningless. This is the claim of nihilism. But that does not mean nihilism is asking you to kill yourself or destroy the world. No. Like a good analogy is that you have a book and the book describes a theory which you know is incorrect. And suppose you burn the book. So will it prove that the theory is incorrect? No. To prove that the theory is incorrect, you have to work on it, you have to do experiments, or you have to do some mathematics maybe, if it's a physics theory. So similarly, if we destroy the world or if we kill ourselves, that will not prove that nihilism is true. Nihilism's, the accuracy of nihilism can be realized via contemplation, deep thinking. For that, you don't need to destroy the world or kill yourself. But always saying is that if the theory is actually incorrect and if you burn down that book, then you're not really destroying any meaningful information. In the same way, your life means nothing to the universe. In the grand scheme of things, in the intergalactic scheme of things, your life does not mean anything. This is what nihilism is all about. And you might say that, okay, maybe that's true, but why should I even think about this? What good will it do to me? Thing is that nihilism is not a scientific theory. It will not let you uncover any new truths about the universe, any new secrets about the universe. But nihilism, promotes an unbiased view of the world. Because when you're saying everything is meaningless, the good, the bad, everything, then you are kind of having an indifferent, unbiased attitude. And this attitude is very important if you want to understand the universe, if you want to do science. So nihilism itself will not help you understand the universe, but it's a good tool, for instance, if you are going to the jungle for an expedition, you want to discover a new plant species, a suspected new plant species. And you know that there are a lot of dangerous wild animals in the jungle. So of course you will carry weapons with you, a revolver, maybe whatever, a pistol. Now this revolver or this pistol, this will not directly help you discover that new plant species, but this will help you survive. Without this, you will not even survive in the jungle. So no question of discovery. So similarly, nihilism will not help you discover any new truths about the universe directly. But I think it's true nihilism, if interpreted in the correct sense, is actually does not promote, it's not about pessimism or negativity, it's actually about realism. It promotes an unbiased view of the world. See the world as it really is. Don't be pessimistic, don't be optimistic either. That's what nihilism is all about. So regarding simulation, if you can realize that it's nihilist, that this nihilistic viewpoint that everything is meaningless, then you will tell that, okay, so I'm living in a simulation, fine, but this simulation is meaningless. Obviously the simulation is not real, but assuming there is a real world out there where this person who is running the simulation exists, but according to nihilism, even that world is meaningless. Get my point? Everything is meaningless, no matter whether it's inside the simulation or outside the simulation. So then you say that, okay, why should I try to break free of the simulation, because I cannot. But that's fine, because even outside the simulation, ultimately everything is meaningless. And this is what I mean by anti-simulation. This will give you a comfort. You are inside the simulation technically, but you have come to terms with it. You are not being simulated anymore. Because you know that you are in a simulation. You are not in a trance anymore. Of course, technically you are still inside the simulation. So this is what I meant by nihilism, basically. What I meant by anti-simulation. And of course, these thoughts can give you comfort. Excuse me. At least in my case, especially during your dark days, you can find it comforting to think about these questions, contemplate that maybe what if you're living in a simulation. But again, I must warn you that don't get too stuck on these thoughts, because it might be, it might, I won't say it might drive you crazy, but it might drive you a little bit crazy, because you see, there is no way to conclusively answer the question. If you are obsessed with the question, like say, how to reduce the number of free parameters in the standard model of particle physics. Now, this is a question which probably can be defined by physics. It's a research question in physics, a well-defined question. Then I would say, yes, you work night and day on this question, you do research. You may come up with some good physics theory, because this question is actually, it might be possible to answer this question scientifically, definitively. But questions like, are we living in a simulation? There is no scientific answer. So why there is no definite answer, no matter what. You have to form your own views and move on. You cannot get stuck on this unanswerable question for the rest of your life. But yeah, at times, as long as you're in control, it feels good to think about these, contemplate these possibilities. That was the point of this video anyway. So I just shared my views about simulation and what I mean by anti-simulation, especially this stuff about nihilism. And this some people will say that there is this paradox of nihilism. Like nihilism is the belief in nothing. Nihilists believe that nothing exists, no good, no bad, nothing. But if you believe that nothing exists, then the nothing is something. I mean, you believe in nothing, so you believe in your belief of nothing. That is something, right? So it contradicts that nihilism believes in nothing. Some people say that this is a paradox of nihilism, but I feel like, just to mention, of course, this video is not about nihilism strictly, but since I spoke a lot about nihilism. Once I get started on nihilism, I find it difficult to stop actually. So let me just discuss this point shortly once, and after that I'll end the video. Just give me maybe 3 to 5 more minutes. That should be more than enough, more than sufficient. So yeah, so basically, yeah, I feel like, you see, nihilism. This is not really paradox because it's just our language is playing tricks on us, and language is a human construct. Language evolved because it made communication easier and improved our chances of survival. But it's foolish to realize that language can describe everything. Yeah, if you study the language, it seems like nothing is something, but actually nothing is not something. You know what nothing is. You can feel what nothing is. When you say nothing exists, you know what you're talking about, even though you cannot uh, tell that to me in words. If you try to tell that to me in words, describe that to me in words, you have to use the word nothing. Nothing exists. But now if I say to you that nothing exists, but nothing is something, or that question makes no sense. It's some glitches with our language. But you can feel what nothing is. Nothing is not something. Nothing is nothing, right? So it's not paradox, I feel like. And you see, again, nihilism is kind of, many people I've seen, they don't want to think about nihilism. They feel like it makes them depressed and everything. I get the point. If that is the case, then okay, maybe don't think too much about nihilism. And yeah, you don't need to think about the deep questions, think about the meaning of life, think about whether we're living in a simulation to live a normal and happy life. Of course, and if you want that to live a normal happy life, just go ahead. I'm not asking you to think about this. Most people, 99% of the population, we don't think about this question, not at least as deeply as the few others. But yeah, there is a, but if you want to search for the truth, if you are a seeker of truth, and if you like my belief that nothing can be a substitute for truth, even a harsh truth would be better than a beautiful lie, then you will think about this question. You cannot help it. You will. Like, sometimes I feel like maybe I should stop thinking and just enjoy life, live a simpler life. But I have gone down too far, and right now I cannot come out of it. But yeah, I don't. I'm not bothered. I mean, I enjoy as well. I'm ready for everything, kind of. But yeah, like I said, nothing can be a substitute for truth. So if you want the truth, you have to be ready to face the consequences of your realization, because these realizations are pretty deep. And once you have these realizations, nobody, you have to live. You have to spend the rest of the life with these deep realizations. And the trouble is that nobody will. I mean, most people around you, maybe nobody you meet in your life, will be able to sympathize with you. Nobody will be able to feel this. If you go out and tell people that I feel like I'm living in a simulation, they will just think that you are an absolute, you are a lunatic, you are a mad, you are mentally unstable. They will just ask you to consult psychiatrist, or maybe take you to the asylum, mental asylum. That is the problem. You cannot share these thoughts with anybody, with very few. See, and you have to bear the weight of this realization for the rest of your lives. But of course, if this relation comes to you, if you're a seeker of truth, some of these relations may come to you. It's very likely that some of them will come to you. So then you have to live the rest of your life with this. But I feel like if you are a seeker of truth, that means you have the courage to, you have courageously jumped out of an ordinary life into this life of truth. So if you had that courage, then I think you also have what it takes to live with these realizations. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say in this video, guys. Thank you very much.